everyone, how is it going? My name is Robert Baker and welcome to Guitar Control. Now, today we are focusing on how to build a guitar solo. So I have a bunch of tips here for you for building your own guitar solo. Not so much necessarily licks to play, because we have lots of lick videos that you can actually apply what I'm getting ready to tell you to creating your own solo. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Make sure you subscribe. Like I said, there are lessons being posted constantly on here from myself and all the other instructors on here. So I'm sure that we'll have something that you like. We'll have something. And other than that, we're going to go ahead and get going. Alright, so tip number one, or step number one, whatever you want to call it, is listen to the rhythm. Make sure that what is going on in the song is going to be complemented by what you're playing. If you have a riff, kind of like what I played in the beginning, if it's just like some kind of like groove, whatever the riff might be, you got to sit there and not want to be like, okay, so that's happening. Now, what do I want to do over that? Do I want to have some like super dark, Phrygian? Really not going to fit that too well. That's definitely like a rock and roll pentatonic kind of vibe. So make sure that you're first listening to the rhythm to kind of understand what's happening. Maybe even sit there and pick out some of the chords that are kind of going around. So like that one, it's going A, then I go to C. Maybe that's something you want to try to... So maybe just sit there and, like I said, really evaluate what's going on with the rhythm. Maybe pick out some of the chords. Maybe you want to outline those exactly. Like that one is just basically A, C, and D. So I could outline those chords if I wanted to. So next is how do you want to start the solo. So there's lots of ways that you can start it. A lot of people like to start with bends. I know I like to. If you're kind of like going up, it has a lot of emotion to a bend. So depending on what the backing track is, again, this is just kind of resorts back to the first one. So if I have like that riff, I can't remember the exact riff I played in the beginning, but if it was something I could sit there and I could really kind of like woo, kind of pack a punch. Whatever I kind of want to go with it, but I think the way a solo starts really emphasizes a lot. Or you could start out really chill, if that's our riff. Maybe like, just make the start of the solo cool. Make it, you want to get the person's attention right from the get-go. If you just sit there and you're kind of like, that doesn't really get your attention so much. So I feel like that, like double stop kind of grabs your attention. You're like, oh, what's going on here? So I think the way you start a solo is extremely important. Step number 3, the licks. So whenever you're writing a solo, you learn all these licks as you learn how to play guitar. And like I said, there's a lot of these videos on here. Common pentatonic licks, rock licks, all kinds of stuff like that. And these are where these can really come in handy. So you want to obviously build your own solo and own sound. But sometimes these staple licks just sound so good. So maybe have a solo with a few of these licks kind of sprinkled in there, so you're kind of playing. Throw some of those Jimmy Page licks in there. Stuff like that is super, super important because for one thing, even now this is like writing a solo, but if you're improvising, to have this little reserve of guitar licks that you can kind of reference back to if you need to give yourself time to think of the next part that you want to go to really kind of listen maybe to what's happening. Maybe there's a part that the song is changing that you didn't originally know was even going to happen. So you kind of end up on this lick, and it's kind of like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. All these are, you know, like just like staple little phrases that I've learned over the years and stuff like that, and it just makes it really, really crucial and important to have this repertoire of, you know, already kind of stock licks that you can kind of take and twist and turn and make them your own. You don't have to just do the same lick, but it's a nice building block to go off of. Alright, now the final one that I want to give you is, where is the solo going to go? What is going to happen in the solo? Now the way I like to write my solos, and obviously you don't have to do the same structure because you don't want to do the same thing all the time, but I think a very safe structure that you know, usually works is I like my solos to build, you know. I like them to start maybe a little bit more simple. So I don't want the solo to start out boring or anything like that, but I don't want to necessarily start out with my best lick in the beginning and then have this kind of like solo happening the rest of the way. So like I said, you know, you want to start off good and kind of be building to this like this part where they're just gonna be like, oh, that was you know, like that's exactly how the solo should end. You know, so maybe save like the best lick for last. That's, you know, usually my idea, or maybe like the big build up or something like that. Like you're playing, you know, like, you know, like I said, I'm just kind of working that build up. And that is how I would write a solo. Alrighty, thank you all so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed that little video. Like I said, just some tips for writing a solo. You know, kind of like take what you already have, kind of build off of it, pay attention to what's happening in the background. That's always super crucial. And just don't overplay, but, you know, make it interesting. So I will see you all later with more lessons. Make sure you subscribe, and have a great day.